When we talk about the lore of Identity V characters, it's hard not to feel bad for some of them. We all know that the game has a cute art style, but if we talk about the lore, we also know things can get really dark and sad. Some backstories are so heartbreaking, you can't help but wish they had a different, happier ending. So today, I want to have a little fun and imagine, what if some Identity V characters had different endings? I'll be talking about a few of them in this video. Quick disclaimer though, this is just my personal take. You might totally disagree with me, and that's completely okay. This is all just me playing around with ideas and rewriting character fates based on how I see them, not based on official lore. Alright, enough talk, let's get into it. Vera Nair, or Chloe Nair, to be exact, is basically the result of what happens when blind jealousy takes over. Here's the short version of what went down. Chloe was a talented perfumer, but she didn't get much attention or recognition, both for her perfumery skills and even for her existence. Meanwhile, her twin sister Vera, who was more popular and well-known, really cared about her and wanted to help. So Vera opened a perfumery and used her own popularity to promote Chloe's perfumes, hoping people would notice her sister's talent and maybe even realize she existed. But Chloe misunderstood everything. She thought Vera was trying to take credit for her work. So, in a moment of rage and misunderstanding, Chloe killed her sister. Then, since Vera was the one everyone knew, Chloe took her identity and started living as Vera. Later on though, Chloe, now pretending to be Vera, realized what her sister was actually trying to do, and was filled with regret. To deal with that guilt, she made a perfume that could make people forget. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I just wish Chloe had taken a step back and talked to Vera before assuming the worst. If only they had sat down and had a real, honest conversation, maybe they could have cleared things up. Vera might still be alive, and the two of them could have run the business together and found happiness. That's the kind of ending I wish Chloe, or Vera had, instead of the one we got. Violetta's life has been full of misfortune from the very beginning. Born without limbs, she was shunned by those around her. From what we know in her story, she was even found abandoned at a circus, implying that her own parents left her on her own. Thankfully, a circus owner named Max took her in and raised her, but it wasn't out of kindness. He trained her to be a performer, specifically, one meant to shock the audience with her grotesque appearance. Violetta did grow up happy with Max, at least for a while, but the harsh truth is, Max only saw her as a source of income. At first, the audience was intrigued by her, but over time, they lost interest. And when she was no longer profitable, Max sold her off to another circus. She ended up in Hullabaloo, desperately trying to win back the audience's attention. Her self-worth became tied to how much the crowd cheered for her. Even in her final moments, she dreamed of having a full, able body and standing proudly in the spotlight. Honestly, that ending just doesn't sit right with me. I wish two things for Violetta. First, I wish Max had seen her as more than just a cash cow. I wish Max had seen Violetta as a person, or even better, as a daughter who truly loved him. If he had, I believe Violetta could have lived a much happier life. Sure, they might have struggled with money, but at least she would have had love and a sense of belonging. She deserved that. Second, I wish Violetta could have seen the world beyond the circus. It makes sense that she thought the circus was her whole world. It's all she ever knew anyway. But when that world fell apart, she went down with it. I wish she had the chance to realize that the circus was just one small part of a much bigger world, one that could still offer her joy and meaning. I wish she could have found a new path, and learned that she didn't need the spotlight to shine. Before we dive into what I wish for Ada and Emil, let's take a moment to talk about their relationship. Ada and Emil's love were genuine and sincere, as there are clues about this in their official character design backgrounds. But whether their relationship is healthy, well, that's a different story. At best, it's a little questionable. At worst, it's emotionally unhealthy. On the surface, their romance seems like a dream. Emil escapes the horrors of the asylum with Ada's help, and together they start a new, quiet life far from everything that once hurt them. Sounds sweet, right? But when you look a little deeper, things aren't so simple. The way their relationship started and how it developed has been a hot topic among fans. Emil, with his fragmented memory, becomes fully devoted to Ada, whose treatment is effective to him. Meanwhile, there were debates whether Ada truly loved Emil from the start, or if her interest stemmed from the fact that he was the first patient to respond to her therapy. Anyway, let's set aside the debates about their relationship for now, and talk about how their story ends. Unfortunately, their love story likely ends in tragedy. After Ada's hypnotherapy stopped working, she brought Emil to the manor, hoping the owner's promise of a better treatment could help him. But of course, we know now that this promise was just bait, leading them both straight into the trap of the manor game, and possibly to their deaths. If I could rewrite their ending, here's what I'd want instead. I wish their story had ended in the forest, far from everything. After escaping the asylum, they would have built a peaceful life together in the woods, free from the world's judgment. I like to imagine the treatment never stopped working, and one day, they'd remember that they had met long ago as teenagers, reconnecting not just through therapy, but through real memories and love. Maybe, in that version of their story, the manor invitation never finds them. And maybe, just maybe, they live out the rest of their lives happily, together, far from everything that once broke them. Norton's life is a clear example of someone who just can't escape their fate. From the very beginning, all he ever knew was poverty. Before he ever became a prospector, Norton was a coal miner, just like his father. Historically, during the Victorian era, coal miners were seen as low-class laborers, barely making a living. Society often treated them like outcasts. I've talked more about this in my other video about Norton Campbell if you want to check it out. To put it simply, being a coal miner wasn't just a job, it was a way of life. You were born into it, you worked in it, and most likely, you died in it. And so, like many others, Norton followed the same path. He started working in the mines from a very young age. His birthday letter hints that he began as early as 7 or 8 years old. Years of hard labor left him with black lung disease, which was sadly common among coal miners back then. On top of that, his determination to work harder than his peers made him a target for harassment and abuse. And even after all that suffering, his life never improved. That's when Norton made a desperate choice: to mine for gold instead of coal, hoping for a better future. But that too ended in disaster. One mine after another failed, until the final one exploded. Norton survived and came out of it with some strange materials from the wreckage, which led him to become a prospector. Now, most of us probably already know how things turned out for Norton in the manor. But if I could rewrite his story, here's what I would wish for. I wish Norton had found a different path altogether. Yes, being a miner shaped him, but I wish he could have left that life behind. With his strength, skills, and determination, maybe he could have become something else. A soldier, perhaps? Sure, that would have required a formal education, which he didn't have. But hey, we can dream! Even if not a soldier, Norton's resourcefulness could have opened so many other doors. Maybe, just maybe, if he had stepped outside the mines and seen more of the world, he would have realized that happiness doesn't always have to come from wealth. That there's more to life than chasing gold. That it's okay to want more, but it's also okay to find peace in something simpler. Kevin is the perfect example of how this world doesn't always reward kindness. Sometimes, no matter how good your heart is, life just throws you into the mud and walks away. Kevin was an innocent and naive young man from America. As a child, he was kicked by an ox and left in the snow, barely hanging on to life. But then, a Native American girl around the same age found him, took care of him, and brought him back home. Since she was lost and had nowhere else to go, Kevin's parents took her in. Her name was Angelina, and from that moment on, she and Kevin became inseparable. She even taught him how to use a lasso, going as far as giving her lasso to him. Eventually, Kevin's parents told them that Angelina had to return home. It was supposed to be a goodbye, but it wasn't the kind they expected. Kevin would later learn the ugly truth. His parents didn't return Angelina to her tribe. They sold her. At that time, in Kevin's world, native tribes were being hunted for bounty. Heartbroken and furious, Kevin left home for good. Years later, Kevin, now a wanderer, was found half dead in the snow again, this time by a tribe. The chief saw Kevin's lasso and recognized it as his daughter's. When asked, Kevin couldn't bring himself to tell the truth. He said they were separated and never reunited, but the guilt ate him alive. Unable to live with that lie, Kevin left once more, carrying nothing but regret and grief. Eventually, his journey brought him to the elitist manor. Now, if I could rewrite Kevin's story, I'd wish for 3 things. First, I wish his parents weren't so heartless. If they had just done the right thing, if they hadn't traded away another human being for profit, then Kevin and Angelina could have stayed together. They might have remained lifelong friends, maybe even become a bridge between cultures, showing that kindness can overcome hatred. But no, his parents chose greed, and Kevin paid the price. Second, and this might sound grim, I wish that when Kevin drank that poison during the manor game, he never woke up. See, during his manor game, Kevin met Patricia, and she reminded him of Angelina. When everyone pushed Patricia to drink the deadly poison, Kevin took her place. He drank it himself, ready to make peace with his past. But the poison wasn't poison at all. Kevin woke up, but not fully. His memories were altered, and he was trapped in a false reality. Honestly, I feel like Kevin wanted that drink to be the end. He believed it was his way to make things right. According to his birthday letter, he saw it as his one chance to pay for everything, even sins that weren't his own. Letting him wake up in a fake dream? That's just cruel. And lastly, if he had to wake up, I wish the manor hadn't messed with his memories. They made him believe Angelina was still alive, and that Patricia survived. It's a twisted kindness, fake peace built on a lie. If Kevin had kept his real memories, maybe he could have still lived with regret, but I believe he would have also woke up with a sense of responsibility. Maybe he could have worked to make amends, in whatever small way he could. But sadly, the manor owner took that away from him too. In the end, Kevin's story is filled with nothing but heartbreak. And while the canon ending may not change, I still wish he'd gotten the closure he truly deserved. There are still so many other characters I wish had a different ending, since the manor game doesn't exactly hand out happy endings. There are more I want to talk about, to be honest. Michiko, Ithaca, Alice, Orpheus, and more. But if I tried to cover everyone in this one video, we'd be here all day. Maybe I'll revisit this idea in the future and give more characters the alternative endings they deserve. Feel free to disagree with me though, since this is just me rambling, headcanoning, and maybe projecting a little too much on fictional people. But again, we can dream, right? Thanks for watching. This has been Silmina, signing off.